Hello, I am Futurist Amelia Kallman, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by some very special guests. Over the past 6 months, I have had the honor to be a mentor in All Tech is Human, a nonprofit at the forefront of the responsible technology movement, bringing together stakeholders to expand the responsible technology ecosystem so that we can all co create a better tech future. The three lovely people joining me today represent different countries, backgrounds, ideas, and visions for the future. Today, we're going to discuss what being a technology advocate means, as well as some of the insights and tips on how we can all be more responsible when it comes to technology, as well as be leaders within our own community. If you would like to begin by giving a short introduction to yourself.
I'm Laurel. I'm a creative tech communications specialist with a particular interest in AI, which I'm currently developing at the University of Cambridge with an MPhil in digital humanities.
Hi, I'm Celine. I'm a writer, digital wellness mentor, and communicator. And I'm passionate about helping people create a better balance and more positive experience with technology, especially when it comes to the spaghetti like complexities of social media.
So I'm Philipp. I'm a partnerships manager at the student-run nonprofit, the Responsible Technology Hub in Munich. I'm also doing a master's degree right now in Munich on responsible technology. And I really love getting creative, finding innovative solutions to complex problems. And I also love strengthening the responsible tech community, which I aim to do with my work.
So, for this mentorship program, part of it has been about getting clear on what each of you as individuals can bring to this movement to have a positive influence on the future. And I wondered if you could just share a bit about what the experience has been like for you and where you are at today with your goals.
So it was quite strange at first to kind of have to look inward at where exactly you're going, because I think it's quite easy, especially if you've been in academia for a while, to kind of just keep plodding along, not really thinking about where it's going or like how this is going to translate to any real world application. Um, and so kind of having to do as well self-praise, so asking around. One of our exercises was to ask your friends and family like 5 positive things about you and like how they perceived you, which, lovely as it is, was terrifying to have to do and then to feed back to the group. But it's been such a supportive space, um, and we just get to like cheerlead each other and be like, yeah, no, you are really good at communicating, like that's so right. So yeah, my initial goals were looking at PhD applications and like figuring out if that's where I want to go next, to overcome some level of the imposter syndrome that comes with coming into a tech space as kind of a non-technical person. Like, my background is in literature, I don't know how to code, and the reassurance that like not everybody in the space needs to be of that like type from that background. And then my last one was just trying to figure out some career clarity, which I know we all have in common. Like, where do I want to go next, and what do I need to do right now to get there? And I think like all of those, I've come a fair way in. I've delayed PhD applications to try and get into the world of work this coming year. But like the other two, the kind of overcoming that imposter syndrome and then getting that career clarity, have all been super helpful in getting me closer towards that overarching goal. And like, it's okay that it's shifted slightly, and I felt that it was okay to do that with your kind of tutelage. So yeah, I'm really happy with the progress that we've all made over the 6 months.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so the All Tech is Human mentorship has been very beneficial for me because when I saw it, I was already in a transition period with my work since I'm self employed. I was in the podcasting space as a manager and producer, and I've always had a passion for digital wellness because I used to offer social media management services, and I just experienced all of the negative sides of social media. So to see this mentorship and apply and get in was very like, oh, like a saving grace, someone's going to hold my hand and like help me. And then two, like forced me to reflect on my career and where I want to go. And it's the things that I think about. Digital wellness and social media keeps coming back in my head. So I know that I'm in the right space. And so to have this mentorship hold my hand and be a crutch and a support system to figure that out, it's been amazing. And to do that with y'all has been lovely. And it's been goofy and funny and sometimes awkward, as Laura was saying, just to like, compliment ourselves and like to say all of our skills. It's hard to do, but it's been very nice to practice. And so, in terms of my goals, at first, or no, the first one was my skills and the skills that I have and which ones do I enjoy and not enjoy. And so I've really figured out which ones those are, and I'm using them. So it's been really nice to start writing on Substack and to learn that I love organizing and to hear all those warm fuzzies from other people, my peers and colleagues. One of my other goals was to connect with people in the responsible tech space, which I could have done better, but I did it. And it was scary at first, but it was actually really nice because everyone's lovely and sweet and they just want to help you because this is such a new and fast growing space that's needed. And so that's been very lovely. And then finally, career clarity was a big one for me because going into the mentorship, I was in a transition period. So to me, I was like, oh, I could go back to school and get my master's. But is that something that I want to do? I don't know. It's kind of an investment. And like, what do I want to study, So like to be forced to reflect on that and where I want to go, and then to learn from Philipp and Laurel and you, Amelia, about like if that's actually what I want to do. It's been nice to hear y'all's perspective. And yeah, it's just been very helpful too, because now I know my values and what I value as a person in terms of my work. And then I know that I want to be in this space and then more into the digital wellness space. But yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, in terms of the whole program and how I experienced it, I think my biggest learning or observation was that it's really cool to share kind of your updates and your progress with other people. It kind of makes you realize that something is actually happening in your life and you're making progress if you're kind of motivated or kind of forced to like tell other people about it. If you're just like going forwards and stuff happens, you kind of forget to really appreciate that you're actually making progress. So it was really nice and helpful to share that with you every month and getting that feedback. And also hearing your progress that you are making and the insights that you have gained. That was really inspiring. In terms of my goals, I have definitely gotten more clarity around my kind of career aspirations. I was very much in the mindset of, okay, I'm 24 now. I'm already 24. I have to choose now between like, do I want to go into like the corporate direction and be a consultant, which is kind of what I'm trained for with my degree so far, or do I rather want to do something entrepreneurial, something independent, where I can work for myself, kind of. And I kind of had the idea that I had to choose now. And I've come to realize that I don't have to choose now. I can do both at the same time. So I'm doing a working student job at a corporate, while like having my side project that I can work on, be creative, be entrepreneurial, and kind of my aspiration now is to have this security of being in a corporate, gaining the experience of seeing if I might even like it, whilst having this side project which I can build up and may then just shift to that project if it turns out to be like fulfilling in the long run. So that's a great insight. That's been really helpful. Also, I've connected a lot within the responsible tech community. Kind of, I've joined the Responsible Technology Hub in Munich, which is a student-run nonprofit. Awesome people there. We're doing awesome stuff. And recently, I've got the role of partnerships manager within the Responsible Tech Hub. So I'm now responsible for kind of connecting the ecosystem and responsible tech in Munich. And there I've kind of discovered that I really like that role as well, like being a community or partnerships manager, working with people and kind of strengthening the bonds within a community that cares about the same thing. I've never seen myself there, but I can see myself there in the future, especially since I think that in the future, having great communities and human connection is going to be very important. So I think that could be something fulfilling in the long run as well. And also a goal was connecting to awesome people, and I've definitely achieved that with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing that. As your mentor, I can see very clearly how far you've all come, and I hope you all can feel that as well, and also just really take pride in that, and allow yourselves to celebrate how far you've come and who you are and what you have discovered in this process. So I wanted to open it up to you guys if you had any questions you wanted to pose to the rest of the group.
So in light of your recent TED Talk, Amelia, I was wondering if you guys had any ideas for if you were suddenly asked to deliver a TED Talk, what your topic might be.
I think I would be quite interested in, like today in my master's, one of my classes today was on post-truth. So kind of this idea that we're living in this post-truth era where everybody has their own little bubble of reality and we can't really agree on anything anymore, which I definitely see. And I'm very interested in how social media contributes to that, or maybe is the main reason that that's a thing. We've kind of moved from this broadcasting model of media where there were a couple of news stations maybe that everybody listened to and had the same idea of what is happening, or at least what they were told was happening, to this very fragmented model where everybody has their own news station in their phone, essentially. So it's very fragmented of what we're believing right now, and I'm interested in how we might eventually get back to something, to more of this collective understanding of reality. Because right now, if everybody disagrees with everything, then and we can't agree on anything, then it's going to be very difficult to solve or address any of the challenges that lie ahead of us. So I'm interested in that. I don't have a solution, so my TED Talk would be complaining or like telling other people about that we have a problem right here.
That is such a big issue. What happens to society when you can't believe the things that you see and hear digitally? And there's all kinds of ethical questions there around my voice, my image, my pattern of speech being used in ways that I have not consented to. I think that's really powerful. Laurel and Celine?
No, just to add on that, it's interesting because something that's come up recently for me is questioning authenticity on social media and like the fact that when we share stuff, there is an audience. Whether you have a following or not, you know that someone will see your content. So, like, because we have an audience, does that mean that since we're participating in performative behavior, does that mean that we're not being authentic on social media? I think that that's like a very deep question, and I don't know the answer. I know what I want to say, and I think that we can be authentic on social media because authenticity is being real and true to who you are and your personality. But because social media is so tailored, like we don't know. But I think that that's very interesting, Philip.
It really reminds me of having that lens. Like you think about reality TV, like as soon as somebody puts a camera on you, all of a sudden you're not necessarily your authentic self because there is a presence of an audience, so that is a really interesting point. I like that.
I really need you to drop the link to your Substack essay on this, by the way. Like, I need to read your thoughts.
I will.
Thank you.
We can link to it in the notes for this.
Yeah, we'll do that.
What about you, Laura?
In terms of like TED Talk, I'd probably do something to do with my dissertation because it feels like a lot of time has been poured in, so you might sort of pull as much content out of it as possible. But looking at public representation of AI, specifically in literature. So at the moment, I look at Ian M. Banks's Culture series, and I'm always open to more like sci-fi recommendations. So if anybody has any, like please hit me up with them. Especially with like a nuanced presentation of AI, not just the kind of Terminator-esque storyline. And like specifically, I'll be looking at metaphors and how the metaphors we use to describe AI then shape not just public understanding, but the development of them. So like definitely there's a lot of people working in this field, and I'm not saying anything like brand new, but in terms of with this specific like set of books, it's quite exciting to look a little bit deeper and figure out some interesting ways that Banks is like weaving in AI before AI even really existed. So yeah, I think that's what I would talk on, but it's more just me like getting to talk about what I want to talk about, and making people listen. So
That's what TED Talks are all about, though.
there we go.
Really cool.
Have you all seen the movie Her?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay, you should definitely, because that's what we are kind of approaching right now, that we have these AI systems, agents kind of that we can talk to and then fall in love with. There's also this app Replica. Maybe you know that as well. It's like this chatbot kind of, it was before the whole ChatGPT hype, and people really build form relationships with these systems. And then one day there was a software update and it broke thousands of people's hearts because their conversation or their agent that was built over the months or years that they chatted with just got deleted essentially. So that's also super interesting and wild that we are essentially already living in this world that Her describes. Maybe not as smooth of a conversation or whatever, or the voice isn't really there yet, but it's getting dangerously close. And I'm really interested in where we'll go with that and what that means in terms of like relationships. Like people are glued to their phone anyways and have a relationship with their phone, and probably see their phone screen more than they see their partner oftentimes. So I wonder what will happen if there are these AI agents that always say the right thing and or whatever. I just wonder what will happen to society.
Well, Replica was originally trained on voice messages and stuff from inventor's partner who passed away. So it was a way to have conversations with a loved one who has passed on. So that brings up all kinds of questions, like, do we no longer accept death if we can live on through AI? And what does that actually do to a person's processing of this thing that is as natural to life as anything, right?
I'm really scared that the people who did the Black Mirror show will one day decide to drop another episode or another like season on us, because essentially like tech people just took every episode and tried to replicate it, and they succeeded with this. So it's scary. I hope they don't come up with more crazy stuff.
Have you seen, is it Love, Death and Robots, that do loads of the like mini animated like clips as well? It's very Black Mirror-esque.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, the robots episodes are the best with the one who plays basketball. Anyways.
Okay. Anyone else want to ask a question?
Are y'all optimistic or pessimistic about tech? Like, where are you on that scale? And if you could give a number, or you could just either side.
I'm really like tech optimist, kind of. I have this optimist bias, and then going into the responsible tech arena, I had like a bit of a conflict about is the whole thinking about responsibility and like asking questions first, slowing progress down, so that we won't reap benefits of these new AI systems, new tools, whatever that we could come up with, whilst others are asking questions. So are we like kind of not getting the benefits, and is that kind of hurting us in the longer scheme? But I've also come to realize more and more that we're kind of living in a different world where these technologies that we're developing are just carrying with them like increased risk for big destruction, just that they haven't carried with them before. Like if we look at the history of technologies that were developed, printing press or whatever, I don't know, they've never really had the kinds of levels of risk that CRISPR or advanced AI systems or whatever have. It's just a different scale and a different world we're living in. So that's why I think that it is important to ask questions first and to think about it more clearly, and to be responsible with technology, because it's not just a tool or a little tool we're building to solve a problem. It's really powerful entities kind of that we're calling into life. And I think that it's asked for to be responsible, or like important to be responsible. So that's what I've come to realize over the past couple of months.
I think I'm in agreement with you. Generally, I'm very optimistic, and like there are some scary elements, but I think the only scary things that kind of come out of these technological developments are where we're not quite considering what we actually want it to do. We're kind of just progressing for the sake of progress and not considering what steps need to come before that. So like with regulation, or even like educating a wide group of people so everybody can actually input to this area. So like the DeepMind Raspberry Pi collab that's just been announced with the educational resources for, I think it's secondary school students, to get access to loads of deep learning and AI related like content. Like that is the sort of stuff that we need to be pushing, and making sure that everybody can actually have a say in how it's going to impact their lives as much as possible. And I think like it's easy to give in to the like slight fear mongering, or to the super techno optimist, techno solutionist, like if we just build more things, it will be better. Um, so I think like on the side of optimism, but similarly to Philip, with that kind of like in moderation, like we have to do the other bit if we want to have these cool like shiny new things. You have to do the stuff that backs that. But like, how are you falling, Celine?
I definitely used to be very pessimistic, but it's because I've had such a love-hate relationship with social media. But what I've learned though is, instead of siphoning things into one box about technology, for example, like my phone, instead of being like, my phone is a distraction, instead, I've developed the mindset of like, okay, well, my phone is a distraction and it's a tool. It's like, it's all these other things. But now I'm very optimistic. But y'all are right, because, I think that we're not doing the work at the beginning, and it's like, can we do the thing? Yeah, but should we do it? Like, what are the repercussions later? And then if we're teetering on whether we should do it or not, what can we do to make it safer, and like hopefully like solve the potential risks that could come with that new piece of technology or AI system or anything. But to give a number, I would say I'm like a 7. But Amelia, are you optimistic or pessimistic about tech?
It's a good question. I mean, one thing I keep hearing from what you guys are saying is that question, is innovation always progress? Are these solutions, or are they enhancing our lives? Do we need them? Do we want them? Are they going to be positive, or are things okay the way they are, or were they better before? These are all kinds of questions I think we need to be asking. Somebody said last night that they were a short-term pessimist and a long-term optimist, and that has stuck with me a little bit. I think the same technologies that can destroy us are the same technologies that can save us. I think that we have huge hurdles in the near future around regulation, also around how we interpret the use cases for these technologies. If we have algorithms making decisions about who we are without our consent or our input, that are going to have long-term repercussions on our employment, on our ability to take out loans, on our ability to move freely, all those kind of freedoms, do what is our relationship with technology that has that much control over our lives, and have we consented to that? Yeah, I think we have a long ways to go. I would say I'm optimistic in people. I see you guys and your passion and determination, and you're coming into this this workforce and this market. And then I look at Gen Z and Gen Alpha in this kind of awareness of the environmental impact that things like gaming has, and our footprint, and how we can maybe leverage technologies to do better and to right some of the wrongs that we have had. So I do think it could go either way, but I have more faith in people, I think, would be my answer. It's a complicated question.
I love that though. You have more faith in people, because I think at the end of the day, we're all people behind the technology.
All tech is human.
There we go.
Awesome.
Well, and on that note, I think, would you like to just say, what's next for you and where anyone can get in touch with you if they want to speak further?
So the plan for the next year is to get into public affairs or like tech communications, try and see what's actually happening outside of the kind of academic ivory tower. I'm trying my best to stay in the loop, but I think like the only real experience you can get is like in the place. So that's the plan, and then maybe a PhD in future. I'm looking at Norway possibly, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm just on LinkedIn at Laurel Boxall, and on Twitter as well. Just always available. Two on my phone. But yeah,
Great.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Where do I see myself? My future is I'm going to continue writing. I don't necessarily want to be a thought leader. Sure, there are a lot of thought leaders, but I want to create content. I want to express myself, and I want to support a responsible tech organization, but ideally in digital wellness. So I just want to support a responsible tech organization, but ideally in digital wellness. And then something too along the lines of, helping people to balance their digital life with the world around them. And yeah, where you can get in touch with me, you can go to my website, imcelinemarie.com. And there you can find my LinkedIn and Substack and just all the goodies. But yeah, thank you, Amelia. And Philipp, Laurel, this has been great.
Thank you.
Great. I'm not as cool as you. I don't have a website yet, but you can also find me on LinkedIn, Philipp Heideker. About like my future, the next steps, kind of. I've really come to realize that I think working with humans and like strengthening communities that I'm interested in is something that I can find some great fulfillment in. I think also that that's going to be kind of very important in the future, as we'll live in this highly technologized, whatever the word is, world, that we have these strong human connections. And I think I can offer value in that area, particularly in the AI fields. I'm interested in like people who are currently experimenting with these new AI tools, how they learn to use them to make their lives better. And this is a great online community kind of. I also plan on going into this content creator kind of role, similar to you, Celine. Yeah, because that also is quite fulfilling, being able to share your thoughts and ideas with the world, and yeah, being active in this community. So that's also where I see myself in the next couple of years.
Thank you all so much. I have complete faith in you, and I'm optimistic about your futures and careers. And thank you all for allowing me to be your mentor this last 6 months. It's been wonderful.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be sure to link to everyone's LinkedIn in the show notes. And if you are watching this and interested to know more, do check out alltechishuman.org and feel free to reach out to any of us to learn more about the mentorship program. Okay, thank you so much. Take care.